Welcome back to my channel. I'm Misdeeds, and this is Gan and Mo's Spotlight.
The sword is drawn.
Drawn for revenge.
Gan and Mo ability to do high-impact damage and execute smart actions allows the team to quickly gain an advantage, making them an essential tool in altering the tide of battle and ensuring victory through strategic supremacy and lethal precision. First, let's focus on Gan and Mo's second and third skills, known as the coupled blades. Gan and Mo aim their longsword in a curved trajectory, with the third ability having a larger reach than the second, and both causing magic damage and adding extra sword energy damage. Remember that Gan and Mo's flying blade is easy to avoid, so make sure to alter your position to affect the trajectory of the sword. Gan and Mo's passive is Forever Entwined. When Gan casts flying sword skills, Mo uses the feminine sword to deliver equal damage. When a sword hits an enemy target, it generates distinct sword energy, which deals an additional magic damage when it hits a target. When the same sword is activated many times, its damage is lowered by 50%.
I give you my life.
Additionally, Gan and Mo's basic attacks slice foes and deal magical damage. Gan and Mo are artillery mages. They are masters of range and use it to gradually take down their opponents from huge distances. So, if the enemy is close to you, keep a safe distance. Nakaruru is currently moving through our jungle. As an artillery mage, I couldn't ambush her, and my sword's curves made it impossible to hit her. Should I bail out? No. Nakaruru possesses an ability known as Mamahaha Flight. She summons an eagle, which boosts her speed, allowing her to gradually pursue and assassinate me. So what should I do? In this case, remember that Gan and Mo are passively forever entwined. Their basic strike provides massive magical damage that may rip anyone apart. In this case, don't be afraid to come too close to your target. You don't need to aim your couple's blade because both swords will hit them, and you'll receive a sword energy mark for extra damage. For Gan and Mo first ability, it was called Guard Her Grave. They launch his splitting sword and moves backwards, knocking back the enemy and dealing damage. Furthermore, as Gan releases the spike, so does Mo, and both will cause double damage. Enemies attacked by their first skill will have their magic defense decreased for 3 seconds. Additionally, each kill or assist permanently increases Gan and Mo's magic power by 15, and up to 20 stacks. Gan and Mo's ultimate is Freshly Forged, which immediately refreshes and enhances Flying Sword. It has 2 passive components. The primary benefit is that it expands their field of vision. The second is that whenever a Flying Sword hits an adversary, the cooldown of Freshly Forged is lowered.
He's unstoppable.
For the Arcana, the first is a Nightmare for magical attack stats and magical pierce. Second is the Mind's Eye for attack speed and more magical piercing. And the last is Hunt for additional attack speed and movement speed. Now for the item build. There are 2 core items and you need to pick one, and that is Boots of Arcane and Boots of Tranquility. Why though? I will explain it to you. Let's start with the Boots of Arcane and discuss what you ought to build next after that. This boot delivers you a helpful stat of +25 mana regeneration per 5 seconds, as well as 100 magical pierces. For Gan and Mo, this represents critical burst damage in the early minutes of the match. The next item is Scepter of Reverberation. If your skill strikes an adversary, it will cause a minor explosion and deliver magical damage. Follow it up with Void Stuff for 45% magic penetration and Savant's Wrath for additional magical attack, and you will undoubtedly destroy your adversaries. But the flip side is that your coupled blades have a considerably longer cooldown. It's great if you blast the enemy with the first rain of swords, but what if you don't? You'll be a sitting duck in the back, unable to do anything while your skills cool off. To fix this, you needed to have this to salvage your situation. You needed the Tome of Wisdom. It not only gives you a significant cooldown reduction, but also has a passive, Enlightenment, that gives you an extra magical damage for every 100 magical attack. Insatiable Tome gives you a cooldown reduction, an extra health, and a magical lifesteal. You can also build Twilight Stream and Holy Grail for another cooldown reduction and mana regeneration. And most of all, you need the Azure Golem buff for another mana regeneration and skill reduction. Again, the first build is recommended if you are confident in your aiming abilities. Now for the other fundamental item, Boots of Tranquility. This is what I normally use in rank matches. It not only offers me a significant cooldown reduction, but it also increases survivability by giving the common skill a 15% cooldown reduction. After that, I combine it with Mask of Agony, which reduces my cooldown by 5% and increases my skill damage, dealing magical damage equal to 3% of my enemy's current health 4 times. Pretty good, right? Once I hit the 40% cooldown reduction cap, my initial skills will be reduced to 5 seconds, and my ultimate will be up to 15 seconds. Let's go on now. The Breakthrough Robe, which augments your magic damage and grants you a magical pierce dependent on your excess health, is the next item you ought to construct. Proceed with Void Stuff, Tome of Wisdom, and last but not least, Savant's Wrath. This will grant you 249 with 45% magical pierces, 1.6 thousand magic attacks, and a 30% cooldown reduction, not including the first skill passive ability. But hey, it is also possible to achieve this with the first build, right? Let me demonstrate the difference between the two builds with full stacks of the first skill passive ability. I'm using the initial build with the strongest magical attack equipment here, which is typical for rank and casual battles. And here are the final stats with the help of Arcana and the first skill, passive full stack. My magical attack total with this build is already 2,000, which is quite a bit. I truly must have the Azure Golem bonus at all costs, because my cooldown reduction is just 20%, leaving me with no options during a conflict. I now find my low magical pierce to be the most discouraging fact. What if the magical defenses of my opponent are strong? I am certain that I am only lightly rubbing their back after that. Now let's see with this full build how much damage we can deal with the enemy if we lashed out the full combo. This is the full damage, not bad, but for me this is not enough. Let's try more to see if we can achieve more damage using this build.
The land will answer.
That seems to be all of it. Now let's test the next build, which I normally utilize in matches. This is my build with a full stack of passives. These are my current stats. Now let's see how much damage we can inflict on our opponent. This is the damage I'm searching for, regardless of its magical defense. Using the Void Stuff and Breakthrough Robe increases damage penetration. And one of the finest items to utilize is the Mask of Agony, which allows me to burn more foes' HP. You've almost reached the end of the guide, and I hope you get something out of my video. Anyway, if you have any recommendations, advice, or information about Gan and Mo, please leave a comment below so that others can read them. We need a helpful gamer like you in our community. Of course, we can't conclude this tutorial without utilizing this on the Hero's Gorge map, so let's begin. In this match, I can still handle Milady as long as she's not left alone, so this is good. She will find it difficult to get past my middle tower. Here, Ukyo Tachibana and Xiang Yu pose the true threat. If they both succeed, they can go in and repress me. I will sob genuinely. We are fortunate to have Guan Yu, Arthur, and Luna. All three of them are able to dive and suppress, allowing me to unleash my artillery damage and burst them. In the first minute of the match, I'm planning to hide in the mid-lane top bush. But somehow Milady and this tadpole are thinking the same as me. A competent mid-laner can do more than just ambush and roam. They can also disrupt the enemy's jungle or steal monsters. This is what Milady meant to do, so I resolved to finish off the Tusk Boars before she could grab them and gain an advantage over me. After reaching a higher level, Milady employs her Chaos Field against me. I use my third skill to hit her so she backs off, and my second skill to lessen her minions attacking me. But it's incredibly difficult to get away, especially without flash. It's really nearly over.
History made by the victors.
I keep an eye on Milady, clean up the minion wave, and her summon minions to keep her at bay. When I saw Arthur, I started fighting Milady. I strike her with Mo's blade and inflict damage on her while Arthur finishes her. This was an awful decision I made. I got into a fight with Milady after seeing Luna near the middle lane. Unfortunately, this was an unsuccessful attempt.
Oops. A minor setback. Not to worry.
This is good. Now I've purchased a breakthrough robe. This is a game changer on my part. It not only boosts my health, but also grants me magical penetration based on my increased health. Always use coupled blades to check whether anyone is hidden in the bush. It never hurts to take precautions. We're pushing the bottom lane, and Guan Yu put up a stage for me, which I burst with my third skill before finishing with my ultimate skill. I genuinely want to back off, but this tadpole is continuously pursuing me, so I sent him to Jesus. We're after Ukyo Tachibana, and I can't finish him off due to a miscalculation on my part. Not only that, but Alessio emerged unexpectedly and finished me off with a hail of gunshots. Out of spite, I also sent him to Jesus. And this is the final minute of the match. Overall, Gan and Mo are challenging to use. Especially if you can't aim properly, always use your skill thinking you can spam it. If you don't know how to position yourself correctly, the enemy may easily dive you. Always remember, with appropriate timing and positioning, you can defeat any foe at the safest distance. That's all I'll say for now. This is Misdeeds, and this is a hero guide for Gan and Mo. Thank you for watching.